Welcome back, Perks Recap Podcast once again. The 90-minute podcast to do all of our predictions was a lofty goal that we did not attain. And it took us 90 minutes to get through just the NFC, so we're going to do an AFC podcast separate. They will both be out at the same time, like I said in the last one, so they'll both be ready to go once you guys, once they're uploaded, which will be actually in the morning. Wednesday morning. Anyway, let's move on now. We started with the NFC, so now it's time to go to the AFC. Let's start in the AFC East. Brandon, why don't you just pick somebody and we'll go from there.
All right. Let's go with New England. I have New England at 10-7. I think that they are going to be good. I don't think they'll be quite as good as last year. However, they do get a bunch of free games playing in the AFC East against the Jets and the Dolphins. And I think that Drake, he proved how good he was last year. I think he'll still be good. Just maybe slightly worse, given with the sophomore hangover a little bit, and a tougher schedule. But I think the Patriots will still be good. I've got them 10-7, making the playoffs.
Yeah, for people who don't believe in the schedule, Al, New England is Exhibit A as to how a schedule can help you because they rode that literally to the Super Bowl last year, and they were not the second best team in the league. They were not. I just refuse to believe that. And even with the addition of A.J. Brown, which I love the addition, obviously, and Romeo Doubs, he's going to have a much better receiving core to throw to. That will save him from that slump that you said to some degree.
Forgot to mention them. Yeah, those were big pickups for sure.
Yep. They signed what's his name? Vera Thomas, the Jets guy.
Vera Tucker. Yeah.
Yep. They signed him at guard, but offensive line is still a concern. They drafted Caleb Loma at tackle, so they're trying to address it. Did they do enough? We'll find out. And they lost some guys still too, Diggs and Chasen. But regardless, all that, I am right there with you. I have them going 10-7 because I still think they're a good team. We talked about this, Al, in our off-season podcast about how they're not going to be as good as they were, but they're still going to be a good team.
Yeah. I'm right there with you guys to an extent. This is a fascinating team because, listen, I mean, I'm not so down on strength of schedule that I can't acknowledge that the Patriots had a crazy easy schedule last year. That's legit.
It was historically easy. I read somewhere where it was like the easiest schedule in like 35 years.
Yes. Now, another website would tell you it was only the easiest schedule in the last 4 years. You know what I mean? This is why I'm calling that stat out. But regardless, everybody agrees that even with the wide disparity of what people actually come up with for strength of schedule, everybody agrees the Patriots had a crazy easy schedule last year. Now, all that being said, I think they're a very good team. I like their coach. I like their players. I think they addressed their biggest issues of need in the offseason very well. They lost Stephon Diggs, but replaced him and then some. I mean, they're way better than they were with him now, between A.J. Brown and Doubs. They addressed the biggest issue of the playoffs, which was keeping what's-his-face, Drake May off his back by drafting a tackle in the first round and signing Vera Tucker. And I just have to mention they drafted in the second round an edge player who I just, Craig, my love for names, and they drafted a guy named Jackass.
What?
His name is Gabe Jackass, but it really looks like they drafted Jackass. It's great. So all that being said, I am actually, this was one of my biggest sticking my neck out things. I am picking them to win the division again, to go 12-5 and win the division.
Wow. So if Bob is listening, he'll be happy to hear that.
That's for you, my man.
You're Bob's guy.
That's right. Well, he likes he saw the Dead in the 60s. He's got to be cool with me.
All right. Okay. Al, pick somebody.
Well, let's go right to the Bills then, because this, and we had a little bit of a different train of thought on whether the NFC East is a 4-team, 3-team, or 2-team race. I don't think any of us are going to disagree that this division is a 2-team race, and that is with the Pats and the Bills. I think almost everybody is picking the Bills to win this division, and I totally understand why. But here's what they don't have that the Pats do: coaching continuity. Now, I know that might be a good thing in a lot of people's opinion, and I get that. I do. Who's the guy that got fired? I just blanked on his name.
McDermott?
Sean McDermott. He has his detractors, and I get it. I really do. But when you bring in a new guy, it changes everything. The new head coach, I don't even know if he's calling plays. I forgot to look at that. But it's an interesting thing. It's going to be a change, positive, possibly, negative, possibly. I can't wait to see what happens. You got DJ Moore in there now. Josh Allen hasn't had or have decided to use a guy that he's had as a number one receiver since Diggs left. I personally think he hasn't had a guy that's capable of that. I don't think DJ Moore is capable of that anymore either. So I like DJ Moore, but I think he's just an above average player anymore. I don't think he's great like it looked like he was for a minute there between Carolina and his first year in Chicago. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Josh Allen will make him great again. But I just can't get that image of him short arming that ball, or not even short arming it, just giving up and not trying for it. I'm very down on him because of that. Maybe I should get over that and just let him, show what he can do this year. But I'm going out on a limb. I'm picking him 11-6, and the limb is not the 11-6. The limb is that the Pats are going to beat him for the division.
Okay. Yeah. They signed Moore and Bradley Chubb, and both of them are pretty bad contracts. They overpaid for both of them. Overpaid for Moore, and then they gave Chubb 3 years, $43 million, coming off a torn ACL.
Yeah.
In 24, and only had 8 sacks last year off that injury. So I didn't love that. I have some questions on the defense, but I think it's okay. Probably good enough with Josh Allen at quarterback to make it feasible anyway, to still have a good year. We'll see what Brady is. Yeah, we'll see. McDermott was a defensive guy, and he's the guy who got their defense to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Gets the credit for it anyway, but they still have needs at linebacker and stuff. So this is an imperfect team for sure. I still have them winning the division, but again, it's going to be neck and neck with New England. I have them also at 11-6, but they're winning the division because I have New England at 10-7.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've got them just a little bit higher than you guys at 12-5. I do share some of your concerns. The coaching situation was weird, to say the least. Getting rid of Sean McDermott and then just kind of promoting within randomly to Brady. That was kind of weird. I'm slightly higher on DJ Moore, but I do agree with you, Al. I don't think he's, an elite receiver or anything like that. I think Allen will probably make him look a little bit better than he is. I don't really have a problem with the overpay because of that. I think, at least after they struck out, from everybody else, I think they kind of had to do that.
Yeah, they needed to bring in somebody.
Yeah, so I've got them at 12-5. I think this is kind of a decent team that looks better because of Josh Allen. So
completely agree. Absolutely, man. They're tough to figure outside of him. And James Cook is a stud.
Right. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Let's go to the New York Football Jets.
You're throwing that word football around loosely with them, Craig.
Yes. Let's see. They added Geno, obviously. They added Minka Fitzpatrick. By the way, shouldn't Minka Fitzpatrick be like 38?
It feels like it. What is he, 29 or something? What is he actually?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
29.
he is actually 29. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, he feels.
Yeah,
It,
that's a
Feels like he's
2018
been around
draft.
for
It feels,
15 years.
yeah.
They also bring in Demario Davis, who actually is 37.
yeah, there you go. There you go.
They lost some players. Obviously, they traded an offensive lineman, extended Tippmann, and they brought in Joseph Asai, the pass rusher, who's actually pretty good, and they drafted David Bailey, who has been apparently turning heads at camp. They got Omar Cooper they drafted as well to help at receiver, and Sadiq at tight end. So I like the draft. I like the pieces that they're trying to build. The problem is going to be Geno, and then eventually it'll be Cade Klubnik whenever Geno is done and when they deem it necessary. And then their real quarterback will be drafted next year. And in the meantime, they're going to win 6 games and go 6-11.
Okay, dig that. Brandon?
Yeah, I had them at 5-12. I do, as you said, Craig, I do like what they're doing, generally speaking. I get that they had to grab Geno or somebody like that because they don't have their quarterback yet. It makes sense. Doesn't make me think they're going to be any better, but it kind of just is what it is. 5-12, and then next year is when they'll really try to make their jump.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Everything both of you guys said. My thing is, what's their head coach's name? Aaron Glenn.
Aaron Glenn.
Does Aaron Glenn? Because I'm picking 5-12 like Brandon, and we're right there with you, Craig. We're all in the same ballpark. Can Aaron Glenn survive a 5-12 or a 6-11 season? I'd like to see him get through this year so he can get that quarterback before his ticket runs out. But I don't know.
It stinks because he's getting put in a very bad position. Because chances are he's not going to be able to do much with this roster, with this team this year, and he doesn't really have much of a chance. And then they're going to fire him. But the thing is, too, when you're bringing in a new quarterback, you like to bring in the coach at the same time, and they're kind of joined at the hip. So I get that too, but I would like to see him get a little bit longer of a look. He's calling the defensive plays for the first time since he left. Where did he come from? Detroit, yeah. And so that's different. And he said calling defensive plays is his superpower.
That's awesome.
That's what he said. Calling the defense is my superpower. But anyway, we'll see, because I don't think their defense is very good. That's another big problem.
Yeah, and you're not going to survive as a defensive head coach if you rank 31 in points per game again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see. Breece Hall tweaked a groin. He's going to be dicey for week 1. That doesn't help anything. I love they got 3 potential studs in the first round. They have 3 first-round draft picks. And they can't do anything but get a little better, I don't think. But, they're not going to be good.
I'll tell you what, their offensive line is actually good.
That's one positive.
Their O-line is legit good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And that's why I like Breece Hall as a fantasy player. And I like them more than the other team we haven't talked about in this division yet, but I still don't, I don't like them much. Did I say the record? I'm picking 5-12 also for the Jets.
Yep. Why don't you move right on to the last team here?
Okay. Well, this is one of the other teams that I picked to go 3-14, the Dolphins. There's 2 things I like about the Dolphins. Devon Achane, and I want to see what Malik Willis is. I'm not sure how good he is yet, but I think there's real potential there. I'm really curious about him. But there's nothing else much to like about that team. They a couple of years ago, they had one of the most dynamic receiving corps in football with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Neither of them are around anymore. It's brutal there. They are one of the worst teams in football. If they're better than a bottom 4 team in the league, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've got the Dolphins at 3-14. They are also, I think they might be my lowest as well, or at least tied for it, if not the lowest. Well, yeah, I do like Malik Willis. At least last year showed us some promise. He doesn't really have anybody to throw to. And they didn't really get much on the defensive side of the ball either. Their pass rush might be okay, but other than that, I don't really, they're not going to be ahead in many games, so it doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, even the pass rush is not going to be. They lose Bradley Chubb. They did not get a lot of pressure last year. They have Jeff Hafley as the new coach and the new GM. At least the GM knows Willis because he's from Green Bay, where Malik Willis was. But your number one receiver might be Tolbert, the old Cowboys number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Their
and
receiving core is. Let me check this out real quick, guys. You mentioned Tolbert. Here's the rest. Tell me anybody you think is a functional NFL wide receiver on this list. Beyond like a depth piece, right? Because Tolbert's a decent depth piece. Here's the rest of their guys. Caleb Douglas is listed as a starter right now on their depth chart. He was a 3rd-round draft pick, not a super highly thought of one. Malik Washington, Terrence Marshall Jr., Tutu Atwell, Chris Bell, who I've never even heard of, Jalen Reagor, who was a bust for the Eagles 7 years ago, Theo Weezy Jr. I mean, this is what we're talking about here, guys. Like, this is the one. We'll get to the Raiders eventually. It's a competition between them and the Dolphins for one of the worst receiving cores I've ever seen in the history of the NFL.
Chris Bell either tore recently or tore last year his ACL. So he's either coming off of an ACL tear or he already tore it and he's out for the year. And I didn't know him or care enough to bother to look if it was this year or last year.
Right on. That's awesome.
And it's not like Dulcich is okay, but it's not like they have like a star tight end or anything either. Like there's nobody to throw the ball to.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, Achane might catch 110 passes this year out of the backfield.
You lose Tyreek Hill and Waddle and Tua and Chubb.
Yeah.
It's incredible what they lost. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And they stunk last year, and they lost a lot of their best players.
Yeah. You guys were optimistic compared to me. I have them going 1-16.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. And I won't argue that even a little.
Okay. I'm going to go to the AFC North, if that's okay.
Sure.
Cool.
A team that's got a lot of steam as well is the Cincinnati Bengals because their defense, which was almost as bad as Dallas's, although not quite, they did try to address it as best they could, even though they lost Trey Hendrickson and Asai. They got Jonathan Allen, they got Brian Cook at safety, and they got Boya Maffa on the edge. They're strong up front. They traded for Dexter Lawrence. They need some corners, I would say. But overall, I think the defense will be better. And it's another one of these situations kind of similar to the Cowboys. They're kind of the AFC Cowboys in that just get a functional defense to be middle of the pack with that offense, and they should be a playoff team.
Yeah. I'm with you. Go ahead, Brandon.
By the way, I have them going 9-8 though.
Okay. Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Craig. Sorry about that. That's great. Yeah, right on.
I have to see it. I'm not entirely sure, and we'll see. Plus, Burrow has some trouble staying healthy, and sometimes the receivers do too. But 9-8.
Right on, Brandon.
Yeah, their defense last year was abysmal, and they got better in the offseason for sure. It's just You hope that Dex kind of has a better year than he did last year, gets back to that kind of like all-pro form he was before, if he's able to. I think that helps him a lot. Their offensive line was actually not bad last year, but it's like, do we think that is going to continue? That's kind of and there's already stuff out of camp saying that, they're concerned over if Joe Burrow is going to be able to stay upright. So that's always the concern kind of with the Bengals is defense and offensive line. But I have them going 10-7. I think they're going to be good. Obviously, the Chase Higgins duo is always, one of the best receiving pairs in the league. And Joe Burrow, as long as he stays healthy, is always good. So 10-7.
If he stays healthy, he's an MVP consideration.
Yeah, always.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I love all the points you guys made. I have them. I'm the most optimistic, and I have a lot of trepidation about this for one big reason I'm going to get into in a sec. But I have them at 11-6. They did more. They tried more this off season than I remember them trying in the last 5 off seasons combined. Just by trading for Dexter Lawrence alone. They did more than they usually do. They have one of the most frustrating ownerships in football. It's got to suck being a Bengals fan, man, because they get a guy like Burrow and their owner still barely tries. It's got to be really, really frustrating. But they spent some money this offseason. They made some moves. Their defense should at least approach like semi-respectability, which could be enough, like you said, Craig. And their offense is spectacular if given health. Now, maybe the biggest issue I have with this team is their coach. I am not a fan. This guy, Zach Taylor, has been do you realize he's going into his 8th season already?
Yeah, but this will be it. If they don't make the playoffs this year, he's out.
I would think so, but I mean, listen, this team has a history of being overly loyal. Marvin Lewis.
Yes.
So I'm surprised he got this chance. I mean, you know what his record is through 8 seasons? 52-63-1.
Wow. That's not good enough.
That's with a 12-4 record under his belt too. Keep that in mind. So not a fan. I don't know how bad he is, but I don't think he's great. So let's see. I don't know. I think I might be overly optimistic, but I like what they did on defense. You know, they got DeMarcus Lawrence. You mentioned Boye Mafe. They also got Cook, the safety from Kansas City, and their first pick was early in the second round. They got Cassius Howell, another edge rusher. So let's see, man. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling it a little bit, but there's things about that team from ownership down that I just don't ever trust. So this could be I could be way overly optimistic here, but I'm going to stick with it. 11-6.
Okay, Brandon, where do you want to go next?
Let's go with the Ravens.
Okay.
I've got the Ravens at 12-5, and winning the division. I'm a little bit hesitant on that. But I do like obviously them grabbing Trey Hendrickson. They got a bunch of decent free agents, but their offense looks a lot the same. Lamar Jackson hasn't really gotten paid yet, so that's kind of a concern. Because what's going to happen there? But I think they're kind of the same team. I do like the head coach hiring. With Harbaugh leaving, so I've got them at 12-5. I think they'll be a decent team, kind of, in the same vein of how they have been. Rushing attack still great. So I think they'll be good.
Yeah, it depends on health, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Lamar's got to stay healthy, and if he does, it's going to be pretty hard for them to, not be at least in the hunt. I don't like the fact that they lost Tyler Linderbaum.
I agree.
That's a big loss and likely. But other than that, everything else is good, especially the Hendrickson. And I like Minter as well, the hire. We'll have to see. I mean, this is a team that was really bad last year. And I expect them to bounce back at least a little bit. And I actually have them winning the division at 11-6.
Okay. Nice. All right. Well, I am close to right there with you. I do have them winning the division, and I just have them with an extra win, 12-5. You know,
Same as Brandon. Got the same
Yeah,
record.
I was 12-5 as well. Yep.
right on. And then, and here's the thing we didn't mention yet, and it's it's just like who was I just talking about? The Bills. Just like the Bills, we got a new head coach. You know what I mean? We haven't said that in a long time in Baltimore. Jesse Minter is coming to town. Who ran a decently successful defense in I want to say San Diego. Dan Fouts, anybody? For the Chargers the last 2 years, but I didn't understand the fervor for Jesse Minter. I mean, I really didn't get it. So I'm curious about that hire. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's a good coach. I just didn't understand how he was the one the Ravens wanted. That really stunned me. It really did. That being said, here we go. And let's see. They have a very good team, so you can't ask for a much better opportunity as head coach. They added Trey Hendrickson, one of my favorite players in the NFL. They added maybe my second favorite player in the NFL after Kenny Gainwell, Calais Campbell, who's now 173 years old and still very good.
Yep.
Totally agree.
So, yeah, no, and listen, this team comes down to does Lamar stay healthy? And if he stays healthy, I like my pick of 12-5. If he doesn't, all bets are off.
Right. I mean, it could be as disastrous as last year.
Absolutely. Agreed.
And then the alarm bells go off in Baltimore in terms of just what do they become in the next few years.
Yeah, and what happens with extending him or re-signing him? If he gets hurt again this year, they really think about letting him walk? That would be wild, wouldn't it?
That would be crazy. They'd be nuts.
I agree. I completely agree. I can't see it happening, but you
Two-time
never know.
MVP.
Yeah, you never know.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. My daughter's boyfriend is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and he thinks the Bengals are a more likely team to win that division than Baltimore, but he's got a visceral hatred for Baltimore, obviously.
That's fine.
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
What do you say-
respect the visual hatred.
What do you say for their record?
11-6.
11-6. That's optimistic. Anyway, let's go with them. I do like the Michael Pittman signing.
Yeah.
I like the Rico Dowdle signing. They needed to upgrade the offense around Rodgers. He gets slower and slower every year. They lost. They didn't go crazy. They lost Gainwell, but other than that, nothing crazy. Austin, not not a crazy loss.
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Not a crazy loss at this point, is he?
I agree.
Their offensive line is kind of not great. So, and that's not good with Rodgers back there. But they signed Nick Herzig off the edge, 4 years, $100 million. They always somehow figure out the defense, but that was under Tomlin, so I don't know what to expect now.
Right. I'm with you.
There's a little bit of uncertainty with them, and because of that, I have them doing okay, but not winning the division, coming in third in the division at 9-8.
Okay. I can see that. Brandon?
Yeah, and I think you even gave him the Tomlin bump there. I had him at 8-9. Because since Tomlin's there, I don't know if they're going to go 500 this year or not there. Yeah, I'm with you. Aaron Rodgers and DK and Pittman is not like the best combo in the world. I think Rodgers at this stage doesn't want to get hit, and if you don't have a great offensive line, having a quarterback kind of be a little shook back there isn't the best thing in the world.
I think Dowdle's going to catch a lot of passes because he's going to want to get rid of the ball quick.
Yeah, that'll definitely help a lot after getting rid of Kenny G.
Yeah, and Pittman and what's his face?
DK. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a pretty good duo.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
And they drafted a guy in the second round, Jeremy Bernard, a receiver from Alabama that could be a factor too this year.
Mm-hmm. So I think they'll be okay. They're all right on defense, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I've got them in third as well.
At 8 and
Okay.
9, right?
8 and 9, yep.
Okay. All right. Well, as Brandon learned joining the pod last year, and Craig knows for our first 3 years together, there's been no harder team to figure for us than the Steelers under Mike Tomlin. It was a wild ride. Every time we thought we knew what was going on, if you thought they were about to go into the tank, they'd start winning. If you thought they were about to keep winning, they'd go in the tank. It was crazy. Aaron Rodgers is another year older. They did a couple things I like, but not enough for me to think they improved their team much. And they lost one of the best defensive coaches of the last 10 years in Mike Tomlin. So I don't like them much at all this year. I'm going 7-10, not even sniffing anything. 7-10.
That's all fair. Because the Tomlin thing is, he's not there, it changes things obviously, but every year on this pod, we always predict the demise of Pittsburgh, and every year they're either competitive or win the division like last year.
I know, man. I know. I think this might finally be the year that it's time for the demise, but nothing will surprise me in that town. I've just accepted that I can't figure out what the heck's going on in Pittsburgh. I mean, they put French fries on their sandwiches there. What do you expect?
Yeah. I put chips on mine, though. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, and I'm not averse to putting crazy stuff on your sandwich.
Okay. Last but not least, actually last and least, Cleveland. Go ahead, Al.
All right. Well, this is the third team in my 3-14 club. And I think this might be the worst of the bunch. This is an absolute disaster. They have 3 quarterbacks vying for the starting position, actually really 2, Sanders and Deshaun Watson. And I don't think anybody on that roster is worth a damn anymore. Deshaun Watson hasn't been good for a long time, and I don't think he ever will be again. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is a NFL quarterback. Maybe he's a career backup at best, as from what I've seen so far. Dylan Gabriel, same thing. So I don't like him even a little bit. They traded away their best player, one of the best players they've ever had in the offseason, Myles Garrett. And what did they do? What did I have here in my notes? Oh, they lost Joel Bitonio, one of their best offensive linemen. And they drafted – I did like their first round. I will say that. If I can say one positive thing about the Browns, I love their pick of Spencer Fano at number 9 and Casey Concepcion. Spencer Fano, tackle from Utah, and Casey Concepcion, the receiver, at 24. I did like their first round. But other than that, I don't like anything about this team. Todd Monken's their new head coach. Okay, whatever. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. I have nothing positive to say about them other than their 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah. They got Verse back for Garrett, which was surprising that they were able to do that. So at least that's not a complete just loss.
I will say real quick, Craig, I thought they did very well in if you're going to give up a generational player, I thought they did about as well as you could ask for. They got a haul of picks and they got a very good player back, and that's 5 to 7 years younger than Garrett. So I don't think they could have done much better if they were going to trade him.
Yep. They lost 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah. Yep.
But they added 3, and they added Titus Howard, the tackle, Zion Johnson, the guard, Elgin Jenkins, the center and / guard, and they drafted Fano. So they added 4 actually. And they might actually be a little better off because those guys might be better than what they lost. But regardless, this isn't a good team. They still need so much, and the quarterback position is a disaster. It has been for years. They've got to just cut bait and just get rid of everybody and start fresh because it's just year after year after year of the same crap with these same guys. Who's winning the job? Who's losing it? Who's trouble off the field? It's just a disaster. Just cut all 3 of them and just sign anybody. They should have signed Geno Smith and cut everybody else.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah,
I think
man.
you do better. Anyway, I have them going. Actually, I'm not quite as down on them as you. I'm gonna have them going 5-12.
I love it. I love it. Yep. Right on.
Yeah, I had them at 4-13, just because I think the defense might be okay at times. Denzel Ward, Jared Verse. We were talking about Schlesinger a little bit last year as a young player that's kind of coming up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think their defense might be okay, but if the offense isn't scoring any points, really, how good is that? So I can see them winning a couple of those like low scoring, ugly games. But you guys said it. Deshaun Watson might actually be starting for this team. So yeah, that's all you need to know basically.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfectly put.
Okay, let's move on. AFC North, South. One of the worst divisions. Well, not really, but it's just hard to predict. I'll start us off, and I'm going to go to Tennessee.
Okay.
Robert Sala's got another chance. He brings in Dable and brings in half the Giants and Jets he used to coach.
Which is a weird way to try and build success.
It's weird how many old Giants and old Jets are on this team.
It's funny. Now, listen, I will say, I would take Wan'Dale Robinson on my team. You know what I mean? I would take, didn't they get Flout or whatever his name is too?
Yeah, I like him too.
I like both of those guys, you know?
They revamped their secondary. Flott and Josh Williams as a new corner. They got John Franklin Myers on the defense, Wan'Dale Robinson, like you said. They lost a few players, Snead and Okonkwo. They drafted Colonel Tate, a wide receiver, to see if he can become something special. And we got to see Cam Ward do better than last year, even though last year was his sophomore year. I can chalk it up to a little bit of a sophomore slump, but he's got to rebound, and I need to see more from him. Otherwise, Tennessee might have a quarterback problem too. Having said all that, I have them at 7-10.
Okay. Brandon?
Yeah, I've got the Titans. I do like some of the things that they did. They're definitely, the Giants and Jets of the AFC now. But I do like some of the things they did. They did get rid of the Jarius Sneed and Xavier Woods, though, which I think are some big losses. But getting Wan'Dale Robinson and some of the other guys, I think will help to offset some of that. I do like Flott from the Giants. Solomon Thomas, obviously. I've got him at 5-12. I think Cam Ward will be better this year. I think he's got some weapons. But I just don't think they have enough talent on both sides of the ball to keep ascending. So I got them being a little bit better, but not too much.
Right on. Yeah, this is an interesting team. What a fun, interesting coaching staff. You mentioned it, Craig. Saleh getting another chance. Dayball as your offensive coordinator, who is a priceless piece of work. And their DC is Gus Bradley. Remember how excited everyone was to get on the Gus bus when he got hired in Jacksonville like 7 years ago? Remember that? And he's been a very good DC in the league. So this is an interesting situation. I don't know, man. Go ahead.
Do you buy that Dable helped Josh Allen? Or was Josh Allen going to be good no matter what? Because that's why the Giants hired him, was because he came over to the Giants to help their the quarterback of the Colts, Daniel Jones, and it didn't work out. But it's under the same thought process of why he's in Tennessee now, is to help Cam Ward.
Yeah, this is going to be his last chance to be a hot commodity. If he does well here, he might be a head coach again, maybe. But he'll certainly be a respected offensive coordinator for a long time. If he doesn't, he's going to be like an assistant head coach somewhere and slowly go away. And I don't know, man, because Josh Allen was going to be great. I don't care who was coaching him, So I don't know what to make of this. I don't know about Salah. How do we say his name properly?
You said it right, Salah.
I don't know about him. I mean, nobody can succeed with the Jets, so it's hard to hold that against him. You might as well have done nothing for the time he was in New York, because I don't know what to make of any of that. I don't know about Cam Ward. I saw a couple glimpses of promise from him, but not a whole lot last year. I love that they gave him Carnell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson. That improves his weapons dramatically. And they had two first round picks. They also got Keldrick Falk, an edge rusher, at 31. They traded back up in, at the end of the first round. So that, they had a nice little draft haul. But I don't know. I'm not super optimistic, but I am having them improve from last year to 6-11.
Okay. Brandon, where do you want to go?
We can do the Colts. I've got them at 9-8. They're another team for me that was kind of hard to predict. DJ coming off, Daniel Jones coming off injury. As we were just talking about before we got on here, they just added Keenan Allen, which that veteran presence I think helps a bit for sure, even though he's, ancient at this point, as we've talked about with some other guys. Last year they just had a great start to the season before Daniel Jones got, hurt, but, they just, floundered down the stretch. I do think it'll hurt a little bit, losing Michael Pittman and, some of the other guys. But I've got him 9-8. Okay, not making the playoffs.
Al, what do I always say about the Colts? Always in the muck. They're always 8-9, 9-8.
Yep.
That's right. Yep.
Every freaking year, they are the definition of the muck, and they're right there again. You can't expect them to be 8-1 again like they were last year. But you probably can't expect them to go 1-8 down the stretch either.
Right.
But so that means it's somewhere in the middle. I have them in 8-9, 9-8, 8-9, whatever. Just a very mucky team. And I've got the fact that Arden Key is a pretty good signing. They needed some pass rush. He doesn't solve it, but he helps. They bring back Pierce, and they still have Josh Downs as well. And now with Keenan Allen, that's actually a pretty decent trio. Daniel Jones, if he could stay upright, I think he can be solid, because at least we saw that finally from him, that he's actually can be solid. And we'll have to see, but they got a lot to prove for me. So I have them at 8-9. Like Brandon, you said 9-8, and either one of the others, that's where they're going to end up.
Right on, guys. Yeah. Now, this is a fascinating offseason for the Colts. I mean, they lose Michael Pittman and Kwity Paye. They kept Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce is such a fascinating player. He is one of the more polarizing people in the league. There were people that thought he was worth every bit of that massive contract he got from the Colts when he was out as a free agent this year. And there are people that think it's one of the biggest overpays in the last 10 years in free agency. Now, the dude, the last 2 years, has averaged 22.3 and 21.3 yards per catch. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. However, the most catches he's ever had in the season is 47. And he just got paid like he's, Jamar Chase or something. You know what I mean? So, and he's not that. And without Michael Pittman around, he has to be a straight up number one. I'm curious to see. And he's been injured all off season. They're saying he might be back for week one. And then you also signed back Daniel Jones, who did prove he can play in this league. No doubt about it. He looked great last year, until he got hurt. But again, until he got hurt. And that's the story of Daniel Jones's career. So, I'm actually picking them to fall out of the muck finally, Craig, and, go all the way down to 6-11. I do not like this team this year.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Al, why don't you take Houston?
Okay. All right. This team has one of the biggest variable outcomes to me. They have, arguably, and I don't know too many people that would argue it, the best defense in the league. They have had one of the worst offensive lines in football, as CJ Stroud has regressed, from his awesome rookie season, into not barely even mediocre last year. He looked awful last year. So I don't know, man. This is a fascinating team to me. I am picking them to pull it together, find their offensive line finally, and ride that badass defense to a division win and a 13-4 record. But I could be insane. They might be 8-9. And I love the David Montgomery ad, by the way. Love.
I love that too. The David Montgomery ad is huge. Reed Blankenship, also a big deal.
I know how good Reed is. That's to add to that already great D, that's huge.
They signed 2 guards and they extended a lot of their guys. They also signed Braden Smith at right tackle. So I think they're trying to address the O-line. And, CJ Stroud, with that defense and hopefully a dynamic running attack, he won't be asked to do too much and just ride that D, like you said. I have them going 12-5 and winning the division.
Right on.
I'm right there with you at 13, right behind you at 13-4.
Dig it.
They had a great year last year, and I don't see why he shouldn't continue. And CJ Stroud still wasn't that great last year, so he doesn't need to be. We've already seen it. We've already seen it.
Just a little improvement, and they can go a long, long way.
Yep. What do you got, Brandon?
Yeah. The question I have with CJ Stroud really isn't the regular season; it's the playoffs, right? Because that's what we saw. And I just hope, that video of him coming into the facility that everybody's making fun of when he didn't have any swag or anything, just hope that he can get it together and kind of have that confidence back. I've got them at 11-6. I agree with everything you guys said. The defense still vicious. I like what they did. I like them realizing that they needed to bolster the offensive line to keep CJ Stroud upright. They probably had the worst rushing attack in the league last year, so I like getting David Montgomery. So I've got them at 11-6, just a little bit behind you guys. I think they're going to be really good once again. And in the playoffs, I think they'll go as far as CJ Stroud, can take them in the playoff, and that defense can take them to the playoffs.
Yep. Well, there's one team left. Brandon, you want to take it?
Sure. I've got the Jacksonville Jags then. Yeah, man, they need Travis Hunter to actually be something for them. I did like seeing that they gave him more defensive snaps essentially in camp now. Seems like they're kind of leaning more towards that than kind of doing the double duty. But yeah, last year they just had a crazy great defense down the stretch. And they just had a consistency that they hadn't had for years. So I have them at 10-7. I think I still have them making the playoffs, but they're right on that brink for me.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I agree with a lot of that. That's I have them at 11-6 and making the playoffs, but I do expect a little bit of a regression from last year. And I love what you brought up about Travis Hunter. They gave up so much for that guy. Like, it's crazy what they gave up for him, and he hasn't proven that he can be an impact at either position on offense or defense yet.
Yep. I think he's been grossly mishandled.
Say again, Craig?
I think he's been grossly mishandled. They drafted him and have no idea what to do with him.
Yeah. And listen, it was a tricky situation because it's like he was adamant about playing both sides of the ball. So if you took him without being willing to do that, you were going to create a problem. But that whole situation is a problem. So, it's just unrealistic. It's just, this guy's a special athlete, but, there's lots of special athletes running around this league and nobody does it. So, it was a pipe dream. It's not going to work. And, best case scenario, I think for the Jaguars is that he's a full-time corner and plays maybe 10 snaps a game on offense.
Yep. He's got to be a corner primarily. I like the Chris Rodriguez signing. And
Yeah, he's solid, man.
How about this? Their defense was wildly consistent towards the end, which was great for the first time. But they had the number one rush defense against the run. But they were 30. They only had 32 sacks total, and that ranked 27th in sacks.
And they didn't do anything to get better in that regard.
They did not. They need rushers, and they did not really address the pass rush at all. But they were number one against the run. But that's kind of weird to me, the fact that they were number one against the run and 27th in getting sacks.
Yeah, that's a strange stat. That is. That they were the maybe the most surprising on the positive end of things team in the entire league last year. I don't know anybody that picked them to win the division going into the season, and then not only did they do that, but they ended up what were they 13-4?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence was really good last year.
He was, and he was very much like some of the guys we're talking about this year, having to prove it because he was up, down, all around his first 3-4 years in the league, where you couldn't figure out what was going on. Did it look like he was heading maybe for not be a starter much longer, and then he pulled it together last year and played really well. So yeah, he's another wild card. Does that continue, or does he regress again? Because he's been up and then back and down.
But the thing
is,
his receiving core looks a lot better now because Brian Thomas Jr. apparently pulled his head out of his butt and is in camp like a beast, and is looking like his rookie year, which we all know was one of the best rookie years by a receiver in a while. And if he's like that, plus that guy who emerged last year, I'm blanking on his. Yep, Washington, and Tank Dell is back as well. If all three of those guys are healthy,
yeah,
that's big, and that means Lawrence should be able to continue to move the ball down the field.
Yeah, no doubt. Real quick clarification: Tank Dell's coming back for the Texans, but what the guy you're thinking of?
I'm thinking of. Go ahead.
That's okay. No worries. The guy you're thinking of is Jacoby Myers, who is Captain Steady. And I mean, I would love to have a Jacoby Myers on my receiving core. That guy has just been steady Eddie wherever he goes. And it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up being the number one receiver on this team this year. Hopefully for the Jaguars' sake, it's Brian Thomas. But it wouldn't stun me if it's Jacoby Myers just because he is super rock solid.
Well, because a lot of people think it's going to be Parker Washington.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The season he had last year, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's
they've got options.
Absolutely.
All right, so what was your record for them, Al?
What did I have? I have 11-6.
Okay.
Second in the division.
I have 10-7, like Brandon.
Well, yeah, we're all in the same neighborhood.
Okay, let's finish. Did we do everybody?
Yep.
AFC West.
Oh, I mean in this division we did them.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we got them. Yep.
Yeah. What was your? Okay, you had the Colts at 6-11.
Yes.
Same record as Tennessee.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Sorry, had to catch up there. Okay, AFC West. Let's do it.
All right.
Al, where do you want to go?
Oh, let's start at the bottom, and I think I'm guessing there'll be a consensus there. And that would be the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, one of the teams in competition with the Dolphins, the Browns, the Cardinals, in my mind, for worst team in football. You want to see a gross receiving core? Look at the Raiders depth chart. Yeah. I mean, it is brutal. Dude, like, I mean, we were poking fun at the Dolphins receiving core a little while ago. I mean, my goodness, wait till this pulls up so I can read this to you. Okay, you got Trey Tucker, good, decent NFL player. Jalen Naylor, Malik Benson, Deontay Thornton, Noah Brown, and Jack Beck are your top 6 receivers.
Yeah.
Ouch. Ouch. Then, Kirk Cousins. Listen, I don't think anybody loves Kirk Cousins, but he is a perfect placeholder at this point in his career. And then what is Fernando Mendoza and when do we see him? I think the Raiders would be wise to wait a while because they are a horrible team. The one thing they did in the offseason that I love is they're the ones that poached the center from the Ravens. What's his face? I have it written down somewhere. Linderbaum, thank you. And they also signed Nakobe Dean from my Eagles, who I love. If he can be healthy, he's a very good player. And Quay Walker from the Packers. So they did some things to upgrade the team this year. They got Kwity Paye from the Colts. They drafted Mendoza. But this was an awful team last year. They didn't do enough to improve themselves dramatically by any means in my mind. I mean, unless Mendoza just walks into the NFL and starts tearing it up, which I don't see personally, especially with the weapons he has. He has Brock Bowers and almost nothing else. And Brock Bowers is great, but you need a little more. So I have them at 3-14, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're 1-16.
Wow. I couldn't disagree more.
Oh, I love it.
I love what Vegas has been doing. Absolutely love it. The Linderbaum signing's huge. Nakobe Dean's huge. Quay Walker. They got the best offensive lineman in free agency in terms of anybody who drafted free or who got free agents, offensive linemen. They got the best of the best in terms of everybody else. And it's going to help Genty. Genty is going to be the centerpiece, and I think he is going to absolutely explode this year and have a fantastic season. The season he should have had last year. I think he's going to go. He might lead the league in rushing. I think that highly of him. They signed an edge rusher, Kwity Paye. It's okay. I don't know. I like it. I like Clint Kubiak quite a bit as well. We'll see what the new DC Rob Leonard is. I don't think by any means they're a playoff team or anything, but I definitely think they're on the come up, and I like what I'm seeing. I have them getting to 7 wins, 7-10.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. That'd be great to see.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah, it would be nice. It's been a long time since the Raiders have done anything. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And since I kept Janty in the keeper league that I'm now in with you guys, I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that Janty will have a good season.
I really do too. By the way.
Yeah, I'm closer to Al here. The Kirk Cousins Mendoza situation, that's kind of a little bit weird. I mean, obviously a lot of teams wait to start their star QB. I kind of am more in line with the Raiders and just play him over Cousins. But yeah, their receivers are abysmal. Worried about their defense. It's good that they retained Max, but I mean, what else are we doing here?
The linebackers are going to be better because they got Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker both at linebacker.
Yeah. And Kwity Paye. So they did listen. They put a lot into that position. So it better be better. And they're running a 3-4. So they're 4 linebackers now are Max Crosby, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, and Kwity Paye. On paper, that is significantly improved. But I'm still with you, Brandon. I just it's not enough. And Nakobe Dean's incredibly injury prone. I hope he stays healthy for them because when he was healthy for the Eagles, he was great, but he was hurt as much as he was healthy.
Yeah. But Al, you pretty much made the other points I was going to make. I have them at 4-13.
Okay, right on.
All right. Brandon, take us somewhere.
All right, well, let's do the Chiefs. Why not?
Okay.
I don't know what Mahomes. I mean, he's already played, right? So I think he's looking decent. Or they don't really have any reservations from him, right? But Travis Kelce is older, just got married. Who knows what his motivations are like these days? This is going to be his last year. And the Chiefs didn't really add any weapons other than Kenneth Walker, which I was kind of looking for. Obviously, Kenneth Walker is a big help in the run game, and they haven't had a good back for years now. So, but as we talked about before, they lost some pieces on defense. I've got them at 10-7 just because of Mahomes and Andy Reid and what they have been, but I have to look. I think I might have them outside of the playoffs. I just, don't really love what they did necessarily in the offseason.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying Kansas City is going to be back. and I don't get it. They lost both of their starting corners, and they drafted Delane, and that's it. That's all they added at corner. They added a safety, Gilman, but it's not enough. They didn't really replace enough of the starting corners. They lost a safety too, Brian Cook. They lost a lot on defense. They added Walker. I think he's going to be very, very good. Real quick little fantasy thing, John, real quick. Would you keep Christian McCaffrey in the first round or Kenneth Walker in the second round?
If you could only do one or the other?
Yeah, that's what I'm faced with.
I'd do McCaffrey.
Holy crap. I mean, McCaffrey's a league winner. So if he's healthy, I'd have to take that risk.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going McCaffrey so far, but I'm really fretting over this decision because we know that we already went over the fact that the 400 touches thing. But anyway, that's what I had to deal with. Anyway.
I get it, dude. That's a tough call. I do understand the consternation.
So they bring back Bieniemy, which is a good thing.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to bring that up too. They let Nagy go to the Giants. Thank you. And I mean Nagy. I don't know if you can put it all on Nagy. I just know that the second he walked in the door, the Chiefs' offense steadily went downhill. If you look at their offensive rankings in the 3 seasons he was there, it started off his first season there. They dropped the middle of the pack after being dominant for years. Then they got worse the next year, and then they got worse the year after that.
Yeah.
Now the thing is Mahomes really ran a lot last year. He extended plays with his feet and got more first downs than he's ever gotten in his career with his legs. Is he going to be able to do that this year coming off the ACL? I have questions. So I have the Chiefs also outside of the playoffs. I don't have them what were they? They were pretty bad last year overall. I don't have them being terrible, but I have them at 9-8.
Okay. Yeah, right on. Wow. Okay. Well, that's fun. Yeah, we're all pretty much on the same page. I have the same record as you, Craig, and which puts us all in the same ballpark. I have them at 9-8. I changed it from 10-7 earlier today. So you know what I mean? Like we're all right there. I love Andy Reid. And him alone is worth a bunch of wins, but, they lost their entire secondary. It was both corners and both safeties. That's not nothing. Their offensive line has been a train wreck the last couple of years. That's why Mahomes was running so much. I love the Kenneth Walker thing. You guys both brought it up. I won't belabor the point, but it is huge. It's the first, really good running back they've had in 5. But there's so many things wrong with this team. Like it's just, they didn't do a whole lot to make a bad offensive line better. They didn't do much at all. I don't love this team. I'm going 9-8 on the strength of Reid and Mahomes. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're a little worse than that. It also wouldn't stun me if they're a little better than that because of Reid and Mahomes. But I'm going 9-8 and not making the playoffs. So all three of us have the Chiefs out of the playoffs, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
How about them apples?
Yeah, well, I mean, plus Mahomes, even the last couple of years when healthy, hasn't been, really elite for a few years now.
Yeah, he hasn't been the same, and there's reasons for that. But at some point, you got to stop giving reasons and just see if he's ever going to be elite again.
Yeah,
it's kind of strange because he's still young. But anyway, Brandon, want to go with Denver or the Chargers? Your choice.
Let's go with the Chargers first. I've got them at 11-6. I think they'll be good this year. I think that as long as they can stay healthy, Herbert gets those tackles back. I think that was huge. That was a huge loss for them last year. If he had them in the playoff game, I think it could have gone differently. Getting back R.J. Hampton, I think the offense will be good. I like bringing Tyler Biadasz in as a center. So I think they'll be decent. I got them at 11-6.
Yeah. Al, what was the Biadasz injury?
Yeah, he got carted off the practice field today. Yeah, it's to go right on your point of offensive line injuries from last year. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy.
That changes things a bit. Okay.
Yeah, dude. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on the news. Hopefully, it's not as bad as it looked. But if he's out for the year or something, that's huge.
Yeah, but you got to think Slater and Alt are both back,
Which is massive.
which is huge. That really impacted them last year. They did draft a center, Jake Slaughter. So they do have at least a draft pick behind Biotish if he's out for a little bit. And I think he was a second rounder, maybe even a first. I'm not entirely sure, but he wasn't like a seventh rounder or anything crazy.
And he was, Craig, real quick. I was reading up on that. I'm glad you brought that up. I was reading up on that, and he's been competing for the starting, I think, left guard, one of the guard spots, because they think that highly of him, and they thought they had, a solid thing with Biotish at center. So if Biotish is out, I think they forget that guard competition and just make him the starting center.
Yeah, which maybe it won't be too much of a drop off. They did more re-signing than anything else in terms of their offseason. They locked up a lot of their guys. They got Keaton Mitchell at running back too. They lost a couple players, Adolfo, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce his first name.
Yeah, just go away.
McKay back then as well is lost. But I love Mike McDaniel as the new OC with Justin Herbert to play with.
Yeah.
That sounds weird, but you know what I mean.
Know what you mean.
But I think this could be dynamic. This can be something special. So I have the Chargers at 12-5 winning the division.
Right on. Yeah, listen, I think Mike McDaniel is one of a handful of difference-making coordinators in this league. So I'm with you. I think he's a huge. The potential impact of Mike McDaniel is massive, especially given that he's replacing Greg Roman, who is one of the least inspiring offensive coordinators in the NFL. So I love that hire. I love it. And it's going to be a pit stop between his before his next head coaching stint, I think. Yeah, in the meantime, it's huge. Now, I do love it, but I don't love it enough to put them in the winning the division. I have them at 11-6 and not winning the division.
Okay, that's fine. So you and Brandon both have them at 11-6?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Al, why don't you take the last team who is your obvious division winner?
All right, that would be the Denver Broncos. I am big on Denver this year because I really like the potential of the Chargers. That's how much I like Denver that I'm going to pick them over the Chargers. Now, a lot of this rides on the health of Bo Nix, but I haven't heard any negative stuff coming out, so I'm going to go with it. Their defense was better than the Texans through the three-quarter point of the year last year. They were the number one defense in football until the last maybe quarter of the season. And they didn't do anything to make it worse in the offseason. I love their defense, and their offense has a chance to be explosive. They got rid of their offensive coordinator and replaced him with Davis Webb, who's a up and comer. I mean, a lot of people will remember him as a backup quarterback in the league. I like the potential of what he's bringing to this. It sounds like they're going to open up the offense a lot. Listen, Jalen Waddle's a huge add. Now he's a health concern guy. We all know it. But if that dude is healthy, him and Cortland Sutton and the other guys that like the Denzel Mims of the world and the Troy Franklins of the world end up right where they should be in the 3 and 4 hole. And this is all of a sudden a dynamic receiving corps. So, I really like this team this year a lot. And, I'm going to take them at 12-5 to win the division by a game over the Chargers.
Nice. Okay, Brandon, did they do enough to win the division for you? Or are they tied with the Chargers or below the Chargers?
No, they did, and I like them even more than Al. I've got them at 13-4.
Nice.
I think that, as you said, Al, I think as long as Bo Nix is upright, to me, tough defense, adding Waddle to me adds a dimension to them. I still love, all the pieces they have, Pat Surtain, all the guys on defense. I got him at 13-4, and I think that might be the best record I have in the conference.
Love it.
Yeah, I love the Waddle signing. They should have addressed the tight end issues because Ingram is getting long in the tooth, and they had 3 tight ends last year that totaled 3 touchdowns between all 3 of them. So they did not utilize the tight end at all because I guess they're just not good enough. But they got Waddle. That's going to help a lot. They re-signed a bunch of their own guys, both starting linebackers, Justin Strand and Alex Singleton. Like you said, Davis Webb is the new OC, up and comer. So yeah, I like what they've done, and I had a little bit of hesitation with Bo Nix. That's the only thing I have, which is why I have the Chargers ahead of them at 12-5 because I do love Justin Herbert and McDaniel a little bit more than Davis Webb and Bo Nix.
Yeah, I'm
That's fair.
I'm not really a believer either. But at some point, I almost feel like I have to just say it doesn't really matter because it's been the last 3 years now. They've been good all 3 years, I believe. And
Yeah,
Bo
their
Nix has
defense
been
is better. The defense is much better.
Yeah.
But I still went with the Chargers at 12-5. I have Denver right below them though at 11-6.
Yeah, we're all, even with us, me and Brandon picking the Denver and you picking the Chargers, we're all right in the same freaking area. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be a fun division, and I'm not totally writing off the Chiefs either to be in the mix here. But I think it's a real interesting 2-team race, potentially 3.
Yep. Okay, so let's go over our AFC playoff teams.
Okay.
I have Houston as my number 1 seed. I have the Chargers as my 2, Buffalo as my 3, Baltimore as my 4, Denver as my 5, Jacksonville as 6, and New England at 7.
Okay, cool. Brandon?
All right, I've got Denver at number 1. I've got Buffalo at number 2. I've got Baltimore number 3. I've got Houston number 4. My wild cards, I've got the Chargers number 5. I've got the Patriots number 6. And I went with the Bengals number 7. So actually, I don't have Jacksonville. There was another team I think I said I wasn't sure if I had them in the playoffs. I had the Bengals over some of the other teams I had at 10-7.
Okay, right on. All right. I have Texans number 1, Ravens 2, Patriots 3, Denver 4. Where's my 5? Bills 5, Chargers 6, and Jaguars 7. And the team that I surprised myself by not making the playoffs was the Bengals. And they were 11-6. Like I had 4 teams at 11-6, and the Bengals were the one that didn't make the playoffs.
Same thing. I don't have the Bengals in it either.
Right on. Okay.
All right. Let's move on to the playoffs. Do you guys have your playoffs all worked out, or how do you?
Yeah, I got like round 1, round 2, all the way to the Super Bowl.
Right. Okay. Let's
However you want to do it.
Why don't you just rip through your NFC, start to finish?
Okay, you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So in round 1 in the NFC, I have the Lions versus the Seahawks. The Lions win. The Bears versus the Eagles. Eagles win. Dallas versus New Orleans. Dallas wins. I know, I just picked the Cowboys in the playoffs. Call me crazy. Then round 2 would be Dallas versus the Rams. Rams win. Eagles versus the Lions. Lions win. And here's where I'm putting my neck on the line. The Lions beat the Rams in the NFC Championship game, represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
I got to say, I'm surprised you have Detroit beating Philadelphia.
Yeah, well, listen, there's some unanswered questions on the Eagles. There's too much new stuff this year. I like the potential, but I got to see a lot before I think about putting them much further than round 2.
Okay, so you have Detroit going to the Super Bowl.
And also by the other factor in that, Craig, too, was the way I did the records. The Eagles would have to go to Detroit.
Right.
Yeah.
Brandon, what do you got for the NFC?
All right, so wild card weekend, I've got Detroit against my Vikings. I got Detroit beating them. I've got Philly against Dallas. I've got Philly going to Dallas and winning.
Oh, I love it.
Seattle against Tampa Bay. I've got Seattle winning that. Then divisional, I've got Rams over Philly. And then I've got Seattle beating out Detroit. And then we have the same matchup as last year. I've got Rams over Seattle to go to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Rams over Philly and who else? I'm sorry.
So it was Rams over Philly and then Seattle over Detroit to get to the NFC Championship. Then I've got Rams beating the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, Al doesn't have Detroit. It doesn't have the Rams winning the NFC. Brandon, if you were not picking the Rams, who would your second pick for the NFC be?
It was going to be Seattle, and then after that, I would have the Lions.
Right. Now, it's weird because my NFC is Chicago against Philly, with Philly winning. Dallas against Seattle, with Dallas winning. Detroit against Tampa, with Detroit winning. Then the Rams against Philly, with the Rams winning. Dallas against Detroit, with Dallas winning, but then the Rams beating Dallas and the Rams going to the Super Bowl. But the thing is, if I was not going to pick the Rams, I don't think I'd pick Dallas, even though they're the team going to the NFC Championship game. I probably would. Oh man, I think I'd also be in the same boat with you guys. I think I'd pick Detroit.
Okay.
The way it broke down with me was with Dallas with their record would have some home field advantages. So that's how they were able to finally make it to the NFC Championship game, but not all the way.
Right on. That's some interesting stuff. I love it.
Okay, so all right, Al, your AFC road.
All right, here we go. Wild card weekend. Ravens versus Jaguars. Ravens win. Chargers versus Patriots. Patriots win. And check out this first round matchup the way I did it. Bills versus Broncos. Broncos win. Next round, Texans versus Denver. Denver wins. Ravens versus Patriots. Patriots win. And then in the AFC Championship, Denver beats the Patriots. Denver versus Detroit in my Super Bowl.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to write these down.
I got you, man. Sorry. Yeah. What do you need?
I need the division round. Houston versus Patriots.
Texans versus Broncos. Broncos win.
Yep.
Ravens versus Patriots. Patriots win.
Right. Okay.
And then Denver beats the Patriots in the AFC Championship.
Okay, Denver, Detroit, Super Bowl.
Yep.
That'd be interesting.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Okay.
And I'm going to hold off on saying who I'll win until we all get to the Super Bowl, or what do you want to do there?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, Brandon, you have the Rams winning the NFC. What do you got in the NFC?
Okay, so I've got Buffalo versus Cincinnati in the wild card. I've got Buffalo winning that. I've got Baltimore versus New England. I've got Baltimore winning that. Then Chargers versus Houston. I've got Chargers winning that.
Okay.
And then after that, I've got Denver beating the Chargers. And then I've got Buffalo beating Baltimore.
Okay, and Denver, Buffalo.
And I picked my number 1 seed. I got Denver going to the Super Bowl.
Huh? How about that? I didn't know if I'd have any company at that party.
All right, cool. My AFC breaks down with the Chargers against the Patriots, with the Chargers winning. Buffalo versus Jacksonville, with Buffalo winning. And Denver against Baltimore, with Denver winning. Then I have Houston against Denver, with Denver winning, taking out my number 1 seed. The Chargers versus Buffalo, with Buffalo winning. And then I have Buffalo versus Denver. And I picked it last year. I'm sticking with it. Buffalo finally gets to the bowl with Josh Allen.
Love it.
So I have Buffalo and the Rams.
Nice.
Okay. So I'll just say mine first. I got the Rams winning, but I don't feel great. It's kind of cheating.
That was the best. That was the best prediction ever.
So, Brandon, you got the Rams in Denver. What do you got?
Yeah, I got the Rams over Denver.
I've never heard 2 more depressed predictions in my life. That was awesome.
I mean, it's the standard. It's probably what everyone's, most people are picking the Rams, so it's kind of standard.
Yeah, I want to be different, but I also don't want to be different just for the sake of being different. Because this is actually what I think. I think this is going to, I really believe they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I love it. I get that 100%. And I've just seen too many super teams not live up to their potential, so I actually feel pretty good about not picking them. Although, am I going to be surprised if they win the Super Bowl? Not even a little bit. But I think there's a real chance what I'm going to pick happens, and that is Denver over the Lions in the Super Bowl. Orange Crush back in 2026.
I love it. Fantastic. Let's...
Awards?
As we're winding down here, we've got about 8 minutes left. Quickly, let's run through the awards. Coach of the Year, what do you got?
Random?
Go ahead.
I know he's wild, but I'm picking Dan Campbell as the Coach of the Year.
Are you freaking kidding me? I thought I was going to be the only one to pick Dan Campbell.
No.
I love it.
I just feel like there's always a narrative. Lions kind of coming back. If they're good again, I think that'll definitely be in play.
I'm right there with you, dude. This is why I picked Detroit to go to the Super Bowl, because as bad as it went for him with his riverboat gambling thing last year, I'm thinking he's going to hit way more than he misses this year and look like as good as he did bad sometimes last year. I love this guy. I don't know if he's the best coach in the league, but he's the one I like the most, and I'm rooting for him to do well. And I get a kick out of him. I love his little one-liners, and he looks like, if you had to pick who was going to win a steel cage match of all the head coaches in the NFL, I'd put him against any other 3.
Yeah. Yep. Well, if I have Houston as my number 1 seed in the AFC, then it would make sense for D'Amico Ryans to win the Coach of the Year. So that's who I have.
Nice. I thought about him too, for sure. He was one of my top 3 guys.
Al, Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay, for me, I'm going Jamar Chase. This is the year for the Bengals to stay healthy. This is the year Burrow plays 17 games. Jamar Chase catches 20 touchdowns.
Wow. Okay, nice. Brandon.
Kind of along the same vein. I'm going Puka Nacua. Same thing. I just think he's going to have a nasty year,
Oh, yeah. I went a little off script because, again, I think the Chargers are going to do pretty well. And I have they're running – wait a minute. Hang on. Yeah, I have Hampton as the Offensive Player of the Year.
I could see that, man. He's primed for a big year. That's a good call. I like that.
And for my Defensive Player of the Year, Again, going back to Houston, I have Will Anderson as the Defensive Player of the Year.
Nice. Brandon?
Well, I should have switched this because I know they're not going to have two from the same team. So I put Myles Garrett. I just feel like, another dominant year. It's going to be even better on this defense with a bunch of different pieces, a bunch of different guys contributing. I've got him.
It's hard to argue. I'm going with a bit of a wild card, but Craig knows from our first few years what a big fan of this guy I am. I was championing this guy for a long time as the most underrated defensive player in the NFL. He was banged up last year, and I think he comes back with another 16.5 sack season like he kept posting in Cincy of all places for years, and that is Trey Hendrickson, finally on a good team, unleashed. Let's go, Trey.
Love it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, Brandon, who was your MVP?
All right, so going back to the fact that there's always a narrative, I'm going with Josh Allen. Don't really feel like great about it, but I feel like he's going to have to do a ton, as he usually does. Will they give it to him again? I don't know, but I think he's going to have like another heroic season to get back to them having like a fantastic record. So,
yep, makes sense.
Dig it. All right, well, I'm going. This guy not only did not have a sophomore slump, he turned into one of the best quarterbacks in football in his sophomore season. I'm going Drake May. A.J. Brown, he threw 31 touchdowns to 8 picks last year without a receiver worth mentioning. He gets A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs in one fell swoop in the offseason, and I think he throws 40 touchdown passes easy. He's got the legs to run for another 500 and off into MVP land, because if they win that division over the Bills on a year when they don't have a cake schedule, I think that's MVP worthy.
I went back and forth between two guys. I literally wrote the guy I ended up not choosing down first, but I ended on Justin Herbert.
Nice.
I just love we already talked about it, the connection, the McDaniels signing, as the OC. I think he's going to really finally live up to that, basically live up to his arm, because his arm is one of the best in the game. Okay. And the guy that I was debating with was Caleb Williams, actually.
Oh, see, I considered him too. There was a lot of people I considered, and he was one of them for sure.
Okay, guys. Well, the predictions shows are done.
Love it.
Thanks.
Love it. Good stuff, guys.
Took a little longer than before, but that's okay. We got some information out there. I think we did a lot of good stuff. Anybody listening, thank you guys for joining me. Do you have anything else to add?
I am good, my man. A pleasure talking to you guys as always. Can't wait for the season to start.
Yeah, I look forward to our predictions being very far off as usual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Predictions sure to go wrong.
Yeah. And as we're famous for on this pod, we will actually hold ourselves accountable, unlike most other predictors.
Yes, we will revisit these.